Hey friend, welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. I'm Gabby Flater, a faith-led wife, mom of 3, certified nutrition consultant, personal trainer, and passionate about changing lives. I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. You want to be motivated to prioritize your well-being and wish you were more educated when it comes to cultivating a healthy home. Maybe you're a mom who's completely burnt out and needs a fresh perspective on life, or you're searching for a place to feel seen, heard, and encouraged in a godly manner. No matter if you're doing the dishes, getting your sweat on, or drinking reheated coffee while watching the kids play, there is always an opportunity for growth. If you are ready to finally take action about these desires and are ready to learn, grow, and transform your mind, then you are in the right place. It's time to establish deeper roots so you can enjoy a more fruitful and fulfilling harvest. Let's dig in. Hello. Welcome back to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. My name is Gabby. Thank you so much for taking time to tune in this week. I am super excited about the topic that I am bringing to you guys. But first of all, I just want to give you guys a huge shout out and thank you so very much for all the love, all the listening, and if you've shared an episode, I saw that I hit my first 1,000 downloads a couple weeks ago, and that was really like, wow, I'm doing this, and steady growth, and we'll just see where this podcast goes. I can't wait to see what comes next for this podcast and where God's going to take it and where He's leading me with this. So thank you so much. Obviously, I could not do this without you guys. So keep listening, keep sharing. It just means so much to me as I show up here and bring you guys, this content. So also, if you do want specific topics, anything, any questions or personal questions that I can keep anonymous, I'm happy to address those kinds of things on the show here. So feel free to email me at gabby.flater@getrootedinhealth.com. This info is always in the show notes, so you'll always see links to things that I talk about. All my info, all the platforms that you can follow me on. If you don't follow me on Instagram, that is one space that I hang out a lot on. I like to provide as much free content and just life living over on my Instagram, especially on my stories. And those are at the top of your page. And those are just little snippets throughout my day. I share something, whether that's motherhood related, gardening, health related, fitness, mindset, like all the things. I show up on there a lot so that you guys can always have a place to come for inspiration, encouragement, resources, that's where I hang out. So if you don't follow me, I believe it's Gabby, I should pull it up. This is bad, I don't know. Gabby_Flater, I want to say. Let's check it out here. Oh no, I changed it, that's why. Gabby.GetRootedInHealth. And that's where you'll find me on Instagram. So that's also in the show notes if you happen to peek at those on this episode. So moving on from that, I am excited. Today we are going to talk about inflammation. And I feel like it's a hot word that's thrown around there. Kind of one of those trendy things, low inflammatory diet or anti-inflammatory oils or leading an anti-inflammatory life, just things like that I feel like are thrown around, and some people, I feel like it's not super tangible, like you don't really know what that means, and that's okay. I had to learn. I didn't know, and so that is why I did some digging and some research on just trying to keep it really basic so that you guys can understand it. So if you hear me turning pages, I have like 5-6 pages of notes here, which is great. So some of it's going to get a little I guess we'll say sciencey or just more detailed. So if it sounds like I'm reading things, it's just because I've jotted them down. I didn't want to forget, and I want you guys to have these resources because this is what I did when researching and looking into things and writing it all down for you. So with inflammation, well, first of all, so we're going to talk about what is inflammation. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the causes, what causes inflammation, and we're going to talk about different types. We're going to talk about foods that can cause it, and we'll talk about foods that can be used against it. We'll talk a little bit about, should you be using food or should you be using some sort of, medicine or medication type, thing that doctors like to put people on. How to look for markers for that. How do you diagnose yourself with that? Like, how would you even know? We'll talk about ways to eat against that and other supplements and other just like lifestyle ways to live to help reduce that. But inflammation is something that is really prevalent in our world today, and it is skyrocketing and it is happening in so many people's bodies. We all experience it, and inflammation isn't bad because it actually needs to happen in our body for itself to heal. And we'll touch on that when we get into a little bit of like some of the description and the definition of what is inflammation. But I would really call it a pandemic of its own, because it is so common to see because of the way that our world, society is, at least in North America here. You look at people, I would say overseas, like the Mediterranean, Italians, Greeks, all those people, they lead such a low inflammatory lifestyle, and there would be stark contrasts between us North Americans versus them because of the things that they don't even consume in their diet and the way that food is processed, heavily processed here. And honestly, that is one of the leading causes. It's just our world is now designed to become so used to convenient and quick, and I want it now, and we feed our emotions and all these things, and they contribute to so many health problems, and one of them being inflammation. So it is an underlying cause of so many symptoms and illnesses, but most people and even doctors don't know how to address it. And if doctors do, it's mostly with like a Band-Aid, which just means that they're not actually dealing with the root cause. So like I said, I touched on inflammation. It's not a bad thing, but in acute situations only, meaning small, acute, small, okay? And then there's going to be chronic, which is long-term inflammation, and that is the stuff that we will definitely touch heavily on today, that we don't want to live in that state. Okay, so let's start with what is inflammation. So I went right for like, okay, let's just get really, basic, and let's just look up a dictionary definition. So inflammation is the process by which your body's blood cells and the things they protect you from infection from outside invaders such as bacteria and viruses. So say you get a cut or a burn or whatever it might be, your body immediately sends blood cells to the site, and you might see a little raised redness, you might feel a little heat. That is all because of the inflammation. It's sending some body fighters to come there and heal. So without that inflammation reaction, without that, sending the blood cells there to start taking care of it, we wouldn't heal properly and take care of all those bacteria, and keep the viruses out and all of those things. So that is in an acute situation where you would definitely want your body to perform its natural function of, bringing a little inflammation to a site to help it heal. So, I wrote down that the immune system, it can be compromised and begin to trigger inflammation when there are no invaders to fight off. So these are unfortunate circumstances and cases, and obviously I'm not a doctor and I can't diagnose those kinds of things. I don't know exactly what would cause someone's body to have that happen, but we are all different, and it's great that we can have experts in the field that can dig deeper, do tests, run panels. But ultimately, you want someone that's working with you. And if you are one that really wants to get to the root cause, which I always encourage someone to do rather than putting the Band-Aid on, then look for the root cause of why is your body doing this, okay? So when you think of that, where your body's being triggered to be inflamed, but there's nothing to fight off, then, think of something like arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. That is something that is a consistent inflammation in the body that doesn't need to be there. So there's acute and there's chronic. So again, acute is short-lived inflammation. Chronic is long-term. So when you think of chronic, we're thinking of cancer, we're thinking of heart disease, diabetes, asthma, Alzheimer's. And so inflammation can lead to these things. So when there's long-term hidden inflammation going on in the body, these types of chronic illnesses can result. That's scary. I mean, that's a lot of big names. I mean, these are things that are just rampant. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all these things. Inflammation can just really wreak havoc on your health. And so, chemicals, I have written down chemicals from your body's white blood cells enter your blood or tissues to protect your body from invaders. This in return raises blood flow to the area of injury or infection. So, like I was saying, it brings the white blood cells in a natural, how your body's supposed to function, sends those little guys over to protect your body from those invaders. And again, you'll see the raised skin, you'll feel it be warm, tender, those kinds of things, and that is all normal. In terms of like arthritis and the chronic stuff, think swelling in the joints. These are things that you're not going to quite see, but over time, you're going to feel it, okay? You're going to feel like achy joints. Some of them are going to hurt. You might not be able to extend or bend or lift your arm in 100% range of motion. So think swelling in the joints. You lose cartilage, which is the cushioning at the end of the bones. That's what happens in arthritis. And also, aside from it affecting our joints and our bones, it can affect our internal organs. So that would be arterial. So it would affect the arteries. So I have a few things written here that heart inflammation may cause shortness of breath or fluid buildup. Inflammation in the lungs can affect your breathing, which makes sense. Inflammation in your kidneys can cause high blood pressure. So the thing is, with inflammation in the arteries and the organs, you're not necessarily going to feel pain. There's not really like pain triggers on your organs. It's just something that ends up compounding over time. So pain, again, isn't always felt, but it's still there. And when that inflammation is hanging around for long periods of time, it's going to cause a lot of damage in the body. And with anything that you're experiencing health-wise, just know that it didn't happen overnight. So therefore, you can't expect to fix it overnight, meaning like it's not going to go away in a week, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. It might take, a few months, 6 months, full year for your body to really fully recover and just become a whole new, system and new cells, and it's really starting to adapt to a new way of living. So just know that, and it can be done, and there's no better time to start than now, because it's always going to feel, the hardest part is always getting started, and then getting through that hump of those first few weeks of like getting in the rhythm. And once you get it and you start to feel some of the relief and you start to see changes, that is the huge motivator for you to keep going. So that's just my encouragement to you. So let's talk about some causes of inflammation. Obviously, a poor diet, is something that is, and maybe it's not obvious to everyone, but because we talk about so much about food and nutrition and all of those things fueling our body with purpose, that is one of the main things that I would always look at is, what does someone's diet look like? Stress causes inflammation. Minor food allergies if your body is reacting to a food, it's constantly trying to fight it off and raising heat in the body and bringing in little attackers, because it's like, this food is foreign, or we don't like this, it doesn't agree with us, and we're trying to get rid of it. So your body's constantly trying to attack, and it's constantly being bombarded and inflamed, trying to put out those fires. A sedentary lifestyle also can, and maybe a few other things cause inflammation, but these are some of the main things. So rather than focusing on taking a medication, we should really be addressing the root cause, like I mentioned earlier, by focusing on how can we reduce the inflammation that's going on inside, because it's still happening. Even if you're taking a medication, the medication is just like lessening it for a little while, and then you're so reliant on it, it's not actually taking it away. It's not going to remove it. But if you actually took the time to do a couple blood panels, or and sit down with a nutrition expert, or a dietitian, or a doctor that will work with you on this, or a holistic practitioner, integrative practitioner, who sees both medical and natural sides, they can come up with a plan for you that can ultimately reverse that, and you wouldn't have to be on anything, and you could live free from the pain or the illness that you're experiencing. So what I have, let's see what else, what other causes. So some bodies, so we're all different. Some bodies don't know how to turn that defense mechanism off, sending all those little fighters, those white blood cells to the site. They don't know how to turn that off, which results in an overactive inflammation response. And if someone's body doesn't respond well to an acute infection, like if someone gets a cut or a bruise or a sprained joint or anything, and their body just doesn't heal it well, it will just end up turning into more of a chronic long-term situation, which needs to be dealt with. And so, honestly, I really feel that most people that don't handle things well, it's because of their lifestyle choices. I'm not certain on it. It's not, inflammation is not a genetic thing. I wouldn't call it that. I don't think we're here to blame our, moms or grandparents of this is, they had it, so now I got it. That's not really the case with inflammation, because the power is in your hands, actually. And if you've been raised in that home and in that environment, and they do struggle with that, but you haven't changed your ways from their ways, then of course you're going to look very similar to what they're going through. Now, I'm not saying that there are not the cases of, again, I'm not a doctor, that people will have some really weird, crazy genetic stuff that happens, because let's face it, we live in a world that is just filled with so many things that are out of our control. My son has a bleeding disorder, and while mine is a genetic thing, I have met families that it has not run in their family history, and it was a genetic mutation. And that just blows my mind, because it's how does that happen? So again, in most cases, I would really not blame it being a genetic thing, that I just inherited inflammation, arthritis, Alzheimer's. The ball ends with you. It's in your court, okay? I just want you to know that. It's in your court, and it's up to you to make and pave the difference. Pave your way and make the difference in your life. And take matters into your own hands, because that's what really matters, rather than blaming and just settling for less, because then, I don't think people should be doing that, because there are ways to move forward. Okay, so talking about, we just touched on, addressing the real root cause. It's not really a genetic thing, but there are people that may not respond well to inflammation, and their body just really, goes crazy with it. And, you have to find the right people to work with for that. Overweight, so obesity, excess weight. Being overweight can mean your body is in a state of long-term low-grade inflammation. So this would just be like your steady state inflammation every single day. If your body is carrying so much extra load, extra weight, just think of the extra pressure that it puts on joints, and all of the processes going inside of your body to deal with blood flow and break, what about the foods so when someone's overweight, I'm just assuming obviously they're, not eating the best diet. So then their body is in a constant state of trying to figure out how to process all this food and where to put it. Achy joints usually leads to a less active lifestyle. So it kind of compounds on itself. Eating poorly and then, gaining some more weight that's not necessary, puts strain on your body as you move it. And so therefore, because it hurts to move, you don't want to move, leading to a more sedentary lifestyle. I mean, are you seeing the domino effect? So obesity, excess weight, definitely over long periods of time as it progresses is just a long-term steady state of inflammation going on in the body. Stress. I feel like this is one of the big ones for me. But I mean, it also comes with my personality of like, go, go, go. But moms with little kids, multiple, definitely can feel like a big load. It's like never ending job. So chronic stress changes, listen to this, stress changes gene activity of the immune cells before they enter the bloodstream. That's crazy. So just think of all the stress that people were experiencing since 2020. How, even if they were stressed, how much more that was added to, multiplied, with so many more burdens of people having to figure out how to work from home and be a teacher, homeschool their kids, and how to work from home when you have little people, and not being able to rely on a nanny or your grandma, grandpa, or anyone. The stress of losing a job, of switching jobs, whatever, finances, whatever it might be, and then on top of just the everyday stresses. So chronic stress will lead to inflammation in the body, and that is, I feel, between the obesity and stress, those are huge. And there's even links between stress and depression and an increased response in inflammation. So really focusing on ways to lower the stress in your life, what needs to be a part of your life, what doesn't, what do you need to let go of, what relationships do you need to let go of, what changes need to be made. Do you need to wake up earlier to make some time for yourself? Do you need to do some meditation? Do you need someone to process life with? Do you need, to talk to somebody? Like, it can look so many different ways for everyone. The less health conscious people with unhealthy habits such as smoking, a poor diet, alcohol, little exercise, kind of things that we already touched on. Those all are related to inflammation in the body. And then gut health. That's also another big buzzword out there, is your gut health. Your gut is like your second brain. It needs to be so well guarded and taken care of, because that is such a huge role in how your body functions and feels and processes things. And when your gut, I have it written down, it was like a quote that I saw, if your gut isn't healthy, you're not healthy. I mean, it's plain and simple. So if you have imbalances in your gut bacteria, needing to get that checked out, that's not something that just like a simple probiotic is going to fix. It can take a little bit of time. And honestly, just with some dietary changes, stress imbalances the gut, and giving it some really good probiotics and some love can go a long way. And then pollution, that's just rampant in our world too. We can't control everything in our environment, but if you're someone who does live in an area that's just really highly polluted with very toxic air, that is another thing that can lead to some inflammation in the body. So I have a couple other types of chronic inflammation that I have written down. We talked about, asthma and heart disease, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's. So these things are all linked to inflammation. And I wonder if so many more people would just start to address moving their body more, releasing some weight, getting rid of some stress in their life, and then for sure getting their diet and their gut health on point. How much of that would be reduced, if not eliminated, from their life? And all of those doctor visits and all of that like low grade just pain and everyday achiness or dealing with something and medications, how much of that could be reduced or completely eliminated if you were to try an approach like this? And maybe you don't deal with it, but maybe there's someone that you know in your life, someone that you could talk to about this and share this podcast with them, or talk to them about these things that you've learned. All right, so we're going to get to the fun part that I like to talk about is, of course, all the food things. Because, again, I feel, it's not just a known thing. And that is why I want to share these things with you so that you are on alert and you can make the best informed decision for yourself. So you don't go into it blind, and when you are making the poorer choice and when you're making the better choice, because it's better to know your information and make the best educated decision for yourself, right? So we're gonna start with sugar, and I mean we're just gonna kind of breeze through some of these. So sugar is kind of an obvious one. If too much sugar in your life is not, it tastes great, don't get me wrong, but too much of it can be a bad thing, just like anything in life. Too much of anything, even a good thing, can kind of lead down to, some unhealthy things. And with sugar, you have to be very careful because companies are so sneaky. They can say sugar-free all they want, but you better darned still read that label, because if it has anything to do with aspartame, sucralose, anything, dextrose, any of those things, you really need to watch labels. I'm pretty sure there's like 60 different names for sugar. And that's just ridiculous that they make us have to deal with that and have to know and be educated on, like, how in the world do I have the time? How am I going to ever have the time to know all of this and, pick it all out on the labels? So frustrates me beyond belief. If I were in charge of the food that goes out into the world, it would be so different. But I'm not. But these are the ways that we can help make a difference and help change these things. So just watching labels, the names of sugars, and what the added sugars are. So total sugars, and then there's what out of that total sugars is actually added in there, because a lot of things have natural sweetness to them. Tomatoes do, apples, fruit in general has its own, when you buy dried fruit, I will not pick up a bag of dried fruit if it has added sugar. Who needs added sugar to dried mangoes? Mangoes are sweet enough themselves. I find the only place I think I've found them is Costco, and it's just dried mangoes. But you go to other places like Aldi and they have tons of dried fruit selections, but how much of it has added sugars and even some oils? You got to look at it because that's where it sneaks in. The next thing on top of sugar is bad saturated fats, like trans fats. So this is where you read labels again. And really, just keep in mind, these are going to be just the things that are fast food. These are fried foods. processed snacks, frozen anything really, breakfast items, snacks, burritos, like all the frozen prepackaged meals, cookies, donuts, margarine, anything with partially hydrogenated oils. And I just want to touch on the reason that these foods don't do well in your body is because they are so heavily processed. They are so foreign to your body that it's trying to digest them. They're like, where's the nutrients? And too much sugar, too much processed foods wears your body down, leading to just not functioning in its prime. You get sick easier. And so, all the sugar and all the bad fats and all the refined carbs and alcohol and, different oils that aren't helpful for your body, I feel like they're just like wasted foods. Now here, we only live one life, so enjoy them every now and again because, hey, we all want to enjoy a pizza or, whatever with people. And we should. But when we're constantly bombarding our bodies with these things, that's where the inflammation comes from, is your body's like, this is not what we were designed to have to deal with on a daily basis, and then try and catch up from 5 days ago that we're still trying to figure out. Like, your body is just in a constant cycle of like trying to fight off the extra sugar and the unhealthy oils and the fats. All these things our bodies were not designed to have to work so hard to break down and eliminate. And I think that's where in the end it all just comes down to. So moving on, so we did sugar. Sorry, I got on a little tangent there, but I want you guys to understand this and why. We talked about saturated fats, omegas, high omega-6 oils. So, there's omega-3s and there's omega-6s. Both are necessary for your body. However, we heavily overconsume on omega-6, and that is one that we do not need in excess. You need more of the omega-3s, and that is where people are lacking mostly in their diet, and you need that from a high-quality fish oil. Even plant-based ones aren't going to do justice. You need the high-quality form because your body needs that. And high omega-6 oils cause inflammation. And these are found in so many things. So it's found in corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower, which has been deemed a healthy oil even in salad dressings, which if I don't have any more time to go to stores and my only option is to buy between, a salad dressing that I need to buy for something that has soybean oil or canola oil versus sunflower oil, I'm going for the sunflower oil because I'm not buying canola or soybean oil based salad dressings. Like, that is a hard no for me. I won't do it. It's not. These are the things that I call non-negotiables. Like, it's just not a thing. I see it, I put it down. I don't hem and haw over it. Oh, it's cheaper though. Like, nope, it's not worth it, because in the long run, over-consumed on all of that stuff, again, you wonder why we're dealing with this. And one of the things, and I was just talking with a family member about it, is, where are we consuming most of this? It's a lot of dressings and sauces. And people, you want some salad with that dressing? Because people drench their salads half the time in dressing. And little do they know that it is just completely overwhelmed with these unhealthy oils. So again, high omega-6s are in corn, safflower, sunflower, soy, peanut, and vegetable oil. So think of your mayos, your salad dressings, those kinds of things. Chips, nuts, when you're buying mixed nuts, read it. A lot of things are processed in a blend of some pretty nasty oils. And again, super easy to overconsume on these things versus omega-3s, which are found in like your fish and flaxseed and things like that. So We don't just go around eating bowls of flaxseed and endless fish, do we? So just being aware of that. And that's what this is all about, is raising awareness to this. Refined carbs. This is your white flour, breads, rolls, crackers, cereal, these high glycemic foods, which just means they raise your blood sugar. They fuel so this is going a little technical. They fuel the creation of advanced glycation end products in the body and trigger inflammation. So it just turns into sugar is what it's saying. And therefore, your body has to figure out what to do with all the sugar. It puts so much stress on your liver, your pancreas, your organs that have all these filtering systems. And it's like, oh my gosh, more sugar. Oh my gosh, more. And where do we put it? Now I have too much. And then it's stored. And then it's just sitting there. And it's not good. And that is what triggers inflammation. Food additives, MSG, that is prevalent in a lot of foods. Gluten, some people, for me, honestly, I feel I don't have issues with dairy. I don't have issues with gluten. Again, we're all different. Gluten sometimes is just one of those things that does not work for people, and it creates these allergy responses in the body and leads your body to trying to fight off this food that it can't handle. So why put your body through that misery in yourself if you're feeling crummy? Dairy, which is the casein, there's different strains of the dairy. So sometimes people have struggles with the casein. I think I'm saying that right. Aspartame, some people can be sensitive to. That's a fake sugar. And then, alcohol. Again, you only live once. So if you enjoy your, couple drinks, spread them out. You don't need them in excess, but enjoy it, limit it. If you can choose better options for it, better sourcing, go for it. But just know that alcohol will never be a good thing for your body in terms of like health. Like, I know maybe a red wine, we'll just say that because I like red wine, but no, like, there are some good things, and people, again, in Europe, they have like a glass of red wine a day or whatever, and they're living amazing lives. Again, what's their sourcing? What other foods are they eating? What does their lifestyle look like? How stressed are they? Are they using alcohol because they're stressed? Or are they just, honestly, it's more of a social thing. It's kind of the like, here, it's just with your dinner. My papa always made, I don't know, he doesn't make it anymore, but maybe he does, his own wine. And I remember growing up always going to my Nana and Papa's house, and he always had his small glass of wine. He is 100% Italian, so that was just the thing, is you had a glass. But again, it gives a burden to the liver. It disturbs organ interactions in the body, making it function less optimally, which, that's what alcohol does. It kind of numbs, kind of desensitizes us. But when consumed in excess and over time. So just, pick and choose and just be wise with it and enjoy it. Because I'm going to enjoy it, but I also am very mindful of what it does to our bodies when consumed in excess. Okay. So how do you diagnose it? How do you know if you have it? What do you look for? If you already have a diagnosis of, let's say, an asthma or Alzheimer's or cancer or rheumatoid arthritis. I'm like, what's the big one that I'm missing? The arthritis. Those are markers of, hey, I probably got some inflammation going on in the body. Anyone with cancer, what do? They say your cancer feeds on sugar. Eliminate it all. You basically go on the cleanest. If you got cancer, for me, honestly, like, you just go on the cleanest diet in the world, and you would just flood your body with all the best things. So why are we not doing that, but, preventatively? That's the whole goal, is take preventative action. Take the matters in your own hands, so that we're not dealing with all these health issues that just all of a sudden become immediate attention. I think of it like, again, I'm relating it to, my son with his bleeding disorder. We now are at a point where science has found we can give a prophylactic treatment, a preventative treatment, so that it doesn't spiral into a giant internal bleeding in a joint, where that's going to lead to breaking down of the joints, leading to internal bleeding, which can cause just not good things, where it's a rushed emergency. Like, we're trying to be on the preventative end rather than the reactive end. And so that is what we're trying to do with this. So if you don't have diagnosis of that, like, there's also, if you feel, if you're overweight, if you feel you need some weight to release, if you feel, I don't know if puffy is the right word, but just like, you feel like, okay, I don't look, and I don't want to say slim is like what we're achieving, because that's not it. Our bodies are all so beautifully unique and designed differently. But if you just feel like you look a little puffier in the face, redness, you feel just achy, super lethargic, just tired, all of those things with just a little quick sweep clean of your diet could really improve some of that and lower the inflammation that's going on. You could even get a blood test done, which would be your really the route to go if you're looking for specifics and a measured marker. I've never had this done. I would be curious to know. You can have a blood test to check for CRP, which is a C-reactive protein, which is a marker of inflammation in the body. Now, I don't know anything else about it other than there's probably some sort of, guideline of like what number on the scale it should be. If you're at a standard range, if you're in a high range, it would tell you whether or not you need to be concerned of some inflammation going on in the body. Oh, I have it right here. Oh my goodness, Gabby. A test of that CRP resulting in, this is why I took notes. A test resulting in a level greater than 10 milligrams per liter is a sign of serious infection. And then you would need more tests to figure out what's going on. And that's where someone more expert in that field would be able to help you with that. So anything greater than 10 milligrams per liter of that C-reactive protein that they look for in the blood would be a sign for that. So being on a non-steroidal and anti-inflammatory drugs, or things like cortisone or prednisone for arthritis or asthma, these all can result in a whole other slew of health issues. So the sooner you can get off of those kinds of things, the better, which would mean, taking other matters into your hands with adjusting other areas of your lifestyle and diet and such things. So food, we touched on, is definitely an area that can cause inflammation. So it can be used for or against you. And research shows that when you eat, what you eat can affect the levels of C-reactive protein, that CRP that they test for, can affect the levels, which is a marker for inflammation in your blood. Foods that are processed and contain a lot of sugar release inflammatory messengers that can raise the risk of chronic inflammation. Okay, so that was kind of what I got in a tangent on earlier. So that sugar releases these messengers that your body can't constantly be trying to fight off, and if they have nowhere to go and nothing to, or no infection, we'll say, to fight off, but this constant influx of sugar and stress and little sleep and overweight things and whatnot, it's just in a constant state of trying to ward it off. So how can you focus on eating an anti-inflammatory diet? What does that look like? It doesn't have to be super overcomplicated. It can be as simple, and if you're trying to make better habits and you really want to start implementing it, then it's really getting rid of the fried foods. Stop eating out. Make your own food. Okay? Make your own food. honestly, if someone were to come to me and they told me they ate, how many times they were eating out, I would just tell them, first and foremost, you need to eliminate it. I'm sorry. Like, that is number one. Then you need to go in your pantry and read the labels on your chips, your go-to foods. What are your go-to foods? And if they have a label on them, read them. And if they are not for you, then you might want to consider just calling it a wash and start fresh, toss it out, donate it, whatever. And get yourself some better things. So you want to get your body in a healing state. You want to eat foods that are rich in antioxidants, which help reduce the damage caused by inflammation. Okay? So these are going to be things like veggies. You can eat as many as you want. Okay? As many as you want. Raw or frozen veggies. You can buy organic ones for a lot cheaper than I think, buying organic fresh vegetables, because they're frozen. They're not fresh, but it's still a great source of nutrients, and they're frozen at their peak state of nutrients. So highly would encourage someone to look into that. But you can't go wrong with veggies, or grow your own, right? Fruits, 3 to 4 servings, just be mindful. Apples are so great. Those are great for liver. Berries are on the lowest on the sugar. So strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, just great and filled with so many antioxidants. You can have cherries, oranges, pears, pineapples, pomegranates, okay? Consume water. Lots of water. Get yourself a fun water bottle and drink the heck out of it. Make yourself motivated. Have a text thread going with some friends. Take pictures of you drinking it, or have a fun one that's got little sayings on it as you are drinking it, and it goes down in increments. There's fun water bottles like that. Get yourself one that holds a lot of water. I find I drink more water when I have a straw, so I don't have to tip it. I just can chug, chug, chug. Drink water, okay? Beans and legumes are great. Healthy fats. Okay, so we're avoiding the bad fats. So what are the good ones? So those are going to be avocados, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, flaxseed. You can, so buy them whole, and then you grind them up in a blender, and you could sprinkle those guys on oatmeal. You can put it in yogurt. You can put it in smoothies. It's all great stuff. If you like peanut butter and jelly, put it on your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's what I do for the kids sometimes. Hemp seed is another great source of healthy fats and some protein, a plant-based source. We like to sprinkle that on avocado toast, or if we do honey toast or whatever, we'll sprinkle some hemp seed on there. Herbs and spices are free for all. You can have, all the basil, chili pepper, cinnamon, curry powder, garlic, and ginger and turmeric are very anti-inflammatory. They fight inflammation. So herbs and spices are, not off the table. Protein, getting good sources. So if you think about, say, just conventional mass-producing farms of meat and dairy, just think of what are they feeding those cows, and then in turn, how is that producing a healthy resource for us as humans? So if they're being fed corn that's heavily sprayed and processed, soy, I don't know where I heard this from, but I was appalled when I heard that they feed cows Skittles. What is that? I don't understand. Anything to get their production up and going and mass producing, because we are a over-consuming world. How does that relate then to when we put it in our bodies? When we're eating that steak, when we're eating that hamburger, when we're drinking that milk, when we're having that ice cream, putting that butter on our bread. What kind of animal did it come from? And I understand we're not all going to be able to afford that stuff, but then be mindful of how much of it you're consuming, and maybe pick an area or two where you could maybe buy a little bit better quality. Get resourceful, or find a couple local farmers and just figure, just talk to them and ask them how they raise their animals, and just know that what you put inside of you also, from animals, what are they putting inside of themselves? Okay. We did that whole episode on eggs. So, it matters. And again, I know things come with a price tag. So you have to figure that out. You have to figure out what is more important in your life right now and what do you need to let go of to maybe make a little more wiggle room financially to afford something, or maybe eat a little less of it but still be able to buy it, but you're not consuming it in excess so that it lasts longer, if you know what I mean. So these are, organic pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed meats, healthy cheeses, raw cheese is a great option, or just, focusing on ones that are not, I try to find organic ones when I can, and we don't always get to, but even just, knowing a couple options that you have and finding the best deal out there, it takes a little bit of homework. Organic poultry, raw dairy, so those are great sources of protein. One of our favorite sources of like a snack, we love Paleo Valley, has some amazing beef sticks. They have great flavors. They have some turkey sticks. They're all grass fed, super yummy. We have them. We've probably been buying them for a little over a year now on auto ship, and my husband has them for lunchtime. For a lunch, we have them when we're hiking. I grabbed when I was nursing and I had little, newborns, and I just need easy snacks. Same with my toddler. Like, he is a little picky with his diet right now, so beef sticks are like his thing. So great, he gets one. There's no sugar, no carbs, because he eats enough of that stuff on other things that he needs a source of protein that he can, really rely on. So we get the Paleo Valley beef sticks, which we love. Tea you can have green, oolong, white tea, fresh vegetable and fruit juices. Just be mindful of sugar content. You want more heavy on the vegetable than the fruit in the juice, because we don't need to be drinking 10 oranges just to have a glass of orange juice, because that you would never eat 10 oranges. And then supplements. Omega-3s, so that's the opposite of those omega-6s. Especially if you struggle with rheumatoid arthritis, omega-3s are going to be huge. Turmeric contains a component called curcumin, and turmeric is one of those super food healing spices, okay? So you can have a turmeric latte, you can put it, make a sauce with it, you can, put it in smoothies, you can have capsules of it. I mean, people have all these resources out there for you to be able to consume that. I wrote down, they had willow bark online I was reading, and that helps with general pain, low back pain, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and bromelain, which is found in pineapple, and it's an enzyme that's known to help reduce swelling. So get yourself some pineapple, okay? And then just to kind of close out, exercise, being active, using your body, even if it's just for 20 minutes, just to move it. Go for some walks, couple throughout the day or one long one, whatever, everyone's schedule and lifestyle is different, what they have access to, what their hours are like, what their life is like. Start implementing some sort of movement into your day. And then just touching on, because of that stress that we talked about, the chronic stress, which I am constantly trying to work on, because I know that it does not, I know that I hold it and I feel it, and I have to, there are times when I have to remind myself to breathe, take some good quality deep breaths and say, does this deserve my full attention right now? Can I take a step back from whatever is overwhelming my brain or my body, and just take a moment and analyze, and adding prayer in there and some meditation, and some deep breathing. I mean, just find what works for you. Journal it out. If you need to quiet yourself in a room, lay on the floor, you just need to find a way, go and do some yoga. You can go in, if you need specific things that you don't just do at home, but if you want to go and do some float therapy where you float in water, that is helpful. I've done that before. Magnesium is super helpful with reducing stress. We talked about that in an episode. recently. And meditation, just like filling your brain with different thoughts that are not stressful. Just thinking about what you want out of the day and being more present and aware of your body and your surroundings and just calming your nervous system is going to do wonders. So I know that this was really good information for you guys, and I really hope that you can implement things. If you have questions, where to start, or if I said something, maybe you need me to address it again, just message me, email me, share this with anyone that you know is struggling with said illness, or just that could use a little jumpstart in their journey to a better, healthier lifestyle. And like always, we're in it for the long run, guys. So let's be as preventative as we can. Let's take our health into our own hands and really just dig your feet in the ground and one step at a time. And I know that you guys can do this. There's a lot of applicable things in here. Again, like I said, pick one thing and cut it out. And honestly, focus on more of what you want to add in. But one of the things I would say is just cut out a lot of that eating out. It's not going to serve you right now. And it's not to say you'll never be able to have it again. But it'll save you some money, and it'll right now, and it'll save you money long term from not needing to have the doctor or a surgery or an emergency happen when you could take that money and put it elsewhere for your health and your mind and your body. So with that, I know this was a longer episode, but there was just so much content to put in there. I really hope that this blesses you, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again soon. All right, take care.